Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have one heck of a 3v3 for you guys today. It was part of the tourney that's hosted on my channel, and it was me, almost Crippling Depression, and the Lieutenant Colonel Quicksilver against Balanced, the man himself, Internet Religion, and LSTR 512. Now, two majors and a colonel versus a second lieutenant, a corporal, and a lieutenant colonel. This was an intimidating match to get into, and because of that, and sort of because it goes the full 40-minute length, we have a knockdown drag-out here fight here, guys. I have also invited Quicksilver on to commentate, so it's been a while since you've been on the channel. It's nice to have you back. Of course, we have been playing a lot together recently. Do you want to say hello and sort of tell us how this match got started?
Hello, so basically I wanted to try and take the brunt of the force of the opposing team as much as possible, really grind them down with Roe V8. I've actually spawned in a second fob, and I believe you got rid of yours, or was it Crippling got rid of his?
Crippling got rid of his, so Crippling's headed over to the right, I'm headed over to Echo, you're headed right down into Delta, and you mentioned the Rovait, but I think this was an Israeli mechanized deck, yes?
Absolutely, yeah. Was a Israeli mech. I've got a couple of 100-point tanks and a para to really damage any super heavy tanks.
So this scared me, I'm going to be honest with you, seeing the PU at the start, but then also seeing the MI8 MTV get to that forward town, which these sections of towns are usually very, very, very important. So this, I was sitting there going, I have to get rid of this right now, moving up my Panther, and we are watching this from your perspective, not mine, so my own troops show up as green, but he got into the town. And my entire column is now going to be devoted to making sure that well, goes away relatively quickly. So we did get rocket pods online, we did get the kill there, but this is a little sloppy on my part. I shouldn't be this bunched up, so much stuff got stunned there, and you're just getting into the zone here with Delta since mechanized is a little bit slower, and I gotta ask you, mechanized versus not mechanized in this center lane, you had to be worried about super heavy tanks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But as Israel specializes in killing super heavies, they got so many high AP ATGMs and really fast missiles. I think even right now I cripple one of the BUs in just this front engagement.
Wow. Yeah, that's 5 points of damage, second shot going in, and down to 1. Oh man.
Yeah.
That would have been really nice to start off with a kill on a BU, just right off the bat. I've been trying to use the para, by the way. This is such a hard unit to use.
It really does take a lot of micro. I do unfortunately think I lose this one, but I make up for it later on.
There's a second pair of BUs back there too, so the first one was, I believe, from LSTR 512, and then we have a double stack of BUs from Balanced, just 4.
That's nearly like 600 to 800 points worth of super heavies just in this area alone. With nothing but Roe V8s, a pair, and a couple of gimbals to hold it off, so...
Yeah, and the gimbals, I mean, the gimbals are not bad, but they're 100 points, the 17 frontal armor is not going to be able to stand up to either the ATGM or the main gun on the BU, and I did have double Eclair over here, so I'm moving those up as well, and that was, I think, pretty important for screening these guys out, but I am not proud of my micro in this game, so... I don't know, it's one of those things where the more stressful the game is, the more needless mistakes that you make, and keeping calm, keeping a level head is so incredibly important, and it's also really hard to do when you know, we knew who our opposition was going to be here, and it's big names, it's stressful stuff. I could not believe that I was going up against someone like Balanced in what's, I think, the semi-final round of 3v3 tournament in the channel. It was very stressful, so yeah, I make some micro mistakes, and a lot of that's going to come down to nerves, but I think you were playing most of this cool as a cucumber, or were there moments where you were sort of worried?
There were a few moments where I'm worried. Being mechanized, like there can be gaps in your reinforcement line just because of how slow it takes everything to get in, and there were some unfavorable trades, but for the most part, I just kept the units coming, and the combination of that with the Mar 290, which I think I may have just purchased right about now.
Oh yeah, 1, 2, look at that right there. And then I Sherman's coming in, and I love these guys. I've been using them a lot in 1v1s, even with standard Israel, and it's kind of amazing. 3 frontal armor isn't all that much, but it does delay some of the AP that's coming its way, and it's just really cheap fire support for that main line.
They are an absolute menace, and definitely MVPs of this game. I'm trying to push my para up here to get the kill on the any super heavies coming out.
May as well take a 30-point transport too.
Yeah, absolutely. This para definitely was getting them scared though, because they have quite the reaction to it as well.
I mean, so would I if I brought my super heavies right down the pipe and right away one of them's at 1 point in strength. That has to be a little bit scary. Close range, that's going to be a Buratino, I think. So, just to zoom back for a second, I think we were playing all three of the Red 4 players were USSR General. Is that correct?
That is correct. So SG-25T coming in for the para.
Misses, gets the hit in the second one, but that's a good trade for us. That's 110 points off the para. That's a 200-point plane. Or was that the 25T, or was that just the 25?
Yeah, that was 25T. That was a 200-point one.
Yeah.
So very good trade, but it does leave me with a big gap because if you look on the field, the only thing I've got that could fight a heavy tank is Gimmels, and I've only got 2 of them.
Right, because the ATGMs up here are basically entirely out of missiles, and then there's Motostrelki nearby. There's a lot of troops in that area, and at this point, I'm just trying to throw numbers forward. So I needed something else in front of my Leclercs to be able to bring them up, and I'm trying to make sure, while you don't have your para here, that we have something. And also Crippling Depression coming in here relatively clutch at the toe too, because if people see this sort of behind where their AA can reach, they're not going to want to drive right into it. At least not without smoke. That'll tell you what they have in mind before it starts. So I'm moving up on this side. We are also we have Commando's para on this end, and I haven't supported them well. So this was, I think, a really nice thing for me in the opener, being able to get this town. And then I just completely didn't help secure it at all. So Balance is coming in here, BTRT, T80, Motostrelki, 29TB, and I'm not going to be able to fight all of that off, particularly once the BTRT drops off its Sapri and they get started moving forward. So
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a ticking time bomb, and right now, I mean, Golf, I think Crippling Depression has fought pretty well here, but this is a relatively backward, not back, but far back position in Golf,
yeah,
and we don't have a ton of echo.
Ideal. It'd be a lot better to be further up because they can effectively smoke and put a CB in there and defend it relatively easy.
Right, so if we flip sideways for just a second, just looking at sort of where the line of contact is, it's pretty in the middle in these two zones, and then it's a little bit past the middle onto our side in Golf, and that usually will mean that we're going to lose the long-term tick. So that's sort of how we started off. We are a couple minutes in, and look, they're pushing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, healed up. My Leclercs. Ooh, where are my Leclercs? Yeah, jeez, not helping. What did I get panicked by? I don't remember.
Urigan, I think. If we switch over to neutral, I think they've got like 3 Urigans in the base, and
yeah, 1, 2 Urigans. K52s, yeah, that's a lot of firepower. So each one of these 11 HE, they won't get cluster kills like the Smirch will, but they will just take a huge radius and make everything in it sad. Which, yeah, it's not exactly ideal. But the Mar 290 is very good at panicking as well, and this is perfectly placed. All of this stuff stunned, not able to move up, not able to fire really, at least not effectively. Just beautiful timing, beautiful placement.
That Mar 290 is stun enough to allow me to get more reinforcements coming in, and what we just saw there is why you keep your tanks smoked.
Yeah, this sort of micro loses you games, and right when that happened, I went from, okay, this could be worse, to I might have just thrown. I think I even said, we were in voice chat at the time, I think I might have even said to you, I think I just threw this game.
Yeah, and I believe my response was, it's alright, I'll send more over yet.
Yeah, and you can see that it is coming in. That's what's coming in next, and I'm switching over to a very defensive focus here now that my Leclercs are dead, and it's not forgivable. I had mortars up, I had my tanks pushing forward, there's no smoke on this side, there was zero reason for that to ever happen, so just smoke your super heavies, smoke your tanks, keep them alive, and we got the plane, but, the first trade here with the para...
Ooh. That one lived.
Oh man, that's even worse.
Yeah.
The first one with the para, trading a 200-point plane for a 110-point vehicle is nice. Giving away 340 points in, well, nearly 330 points in super heavies for free? Yeah, it's not great. That's not great at all. But we do have Tunushka spotted. We have the Buratino loading up and firing into pretty much nothing here, which is good for us because it's missing everything, and bad for us because Delta has been pretty cleaned out by the Red 4 team. So where do we go from here?
I decided to get some more OV8 and S Shermans, and I finally got my second para up.
That's moving up on the left.
Yeah, yep. And then, this unit, keep an eye on it for the duration of the game, because he very well might as well have won us this game. This unit, if they killed it, then we would have been really screwed.
Fair enough. I also did have a Mars, and this is, I take one of them up vetted. I need to switch that to two of them down vetted, I think, just for better coverage. And I'm trying to keep him relatively close to his minimum range to get a tight cluster in on Delta. So I think that last cluster that went in, which did, I mean, it didn't kill any super heavies, but I think it did get quite a few vehicle kills, and clearing out that chaff is a very important part of holding the front line as well. I think that
it also
shot
stopped them from pushing as well. They made them retreat and repair. And
especially combined with the
that's also-
MAR-290, which is great versus
Yeah.
soft targets, but he actually had to back up just a little bit to take that shot. That's how much I was trying to stay close to min-range, was I actually had to reposition just to take it, which is a little goofy.
I brought up a Nimrod as well, because Delta is a very weird place to get line sight on.
I thought you just brought up the Nimrod because I was being one with the Leclercs earlier. Was it actually?
No.
Man.
And also some Cheyenne will also help me in the infantry fight.
Now, I've heard people say basically if you bring in Shayatet a lot as Israel, especially Israel Mac, it means that the game is sort of going against you. Is that true here, or is it sort of just nice infantry that you can get while bringing in the unit that you really want?
I really wanted the Nimrod. The Cheyenne were a byproduct of me getting the Nimrod.
Pretty expensive for that, but I mean, the B300 is very nice, 70% accuracy, 875 meter range. I only wish it had more punch. It reminds me a lot of the Vampire, which is brought by Red 4, and has 24 AP power, which makes such a difference. It's incredible. Just to take a look.
Also, Crippling Depression side's being pushed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I ended up sending him some reinforcements as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is very scary, because if they get into this section of woods with anything with a long-range gun, that can shoot in this side. It really
Just,
cleans out the center.
Look at the BU. Sorry, quickly.
Ooh.
Just BU getting killed by the Nimrod.
Oh, man. Look at that.
Right there. Three
Very
shots
nice,
off.
very nice.
But,
3 shots off on the Nimrod? Right in a row?
yeah.
Wait, where'd it go? Where did the Nimrod...
He got killed by Tunguska, I think.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I'll take that
But-
trade any day. That's basically 2 for 1.
Pretty much. And the Cheyenne is still alive and got stuff to kill.
Yeah, and then this M41A1s, don't underestimate them. I'd actually... If you said BTR-90 versus 2 M41A1s, I'd put my money on the M41A1s. They have the recon. They have just enough armor to be surviving against that autocannon for long enough to take a couple shots back. And between those and the Fennec, we do get that kill. You can see also pushing back the Spetsnaz Gru, and this is an unfortunate fight, because we really need RBS 56 in this section to sort of screen out other pushes, but, I mean... Yeah, it's doing okay. If the STRF can engage, they might be able to turn the tide, unless the Spetsnaz Gru is microed to turn off that Dragunov and turn on the RPG, but then just more numbers coming in.
Honestly, the RBS were holding their own for way longer than they should have, they live.
5 strength ATGM teams, they're very expensive, but they're very good for a reason. So a 2 strength team would have been dead there very quickly, and then the follow-up probably would have killed the STRF if they'd gotten the shot.
We
on.
also got another 2 T80 UMs coming up, which
Yeah, look at
for
that.
count now, that's 3 BUs and 2 UMs, and once again, it looks like my front line has folded, but...
Yeah, just nearly entirely. So Rovia on this side. My Panzergren 90 are pushing up here along with reservists, and we do get a pretty decent engagement with VDV, so there were shots coming in from a BTR 90, but support from the mortars was, oh geez, beautiful. Look at that. That's going to allow the kill there, and these guys are not cheap either. That's a 50-point squad. And then side shots...
Did my Revere just kill a BU?
No, they side shotted it. They got about 2 points of damage in there, because, I mean, 13 AP power... Even a side shot, the BU has decent enough armor, it's not going to kill, but it might have been a front shot then, because I would have expected a side shot to do probably about 6 or 7. Not really sure. It's not... I don't often take Rove and think about how much damage they can do to a BU.
No, I just think about how much damage they can take from a BU.
Yeah, exactly, but I mean, it is high explosive anti-tank, which means guaranteed at least 1 point of damage. And the artillery from both sides has been merciless. Look at this. Another 2... Is that 2 Uragans?
I believe so. You have to check neutral, but yeah, it looks like 2 Euroguns coming in. It looks definitely more than 14 rockets, so... oh no, just 1.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, okay, 16 rockets coming in. Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. And, oh, we did get something on the counter-fire. Just missed it right there, but let's take a look at that charred corpse of a Uragan that was killed. Ooh. Yeah, Smirch, sorry, that was killed by, I think that was my...
That would have to be in your cluster.
LAR, yeah, that's the cluster. So, oh no, not LAR, that's the Mars back here. So we did get some counterfire, and killing their cluster I think is really crucial. They still had the Uragans, but taking out that Smirch means that our own armor is not going to be as in danger, and well, really that's a big difference in a game like this. I think it was pretty crucial. So I have capped Echo. Yeah, a little self-back pat there from the guy who records his own games 7 days a week. But Ice Shermans, this is what I mentioned earlier, they're really impressive for the point cost. So everything here that's going to get spotted is going to get shot at, and you lose one of these, it's 15 points, you don't really care. They kill a Skreget, they make up for themselves. They kill VDV, they make up for themselves. They're taking shots from UMs and BUs, and it's slowing down that push, allowing more infantry to get up behind them, and also keeping vision on these guys. So it's really just, it has a huge niche in this. Oh man, that's so brutal. That is so brutal. I can't believe we didn't shut that down. Why didn't we cluster this whole section of forest?
I think we had bigger priority targets trying to get the UMs and their countering their arty is more important than killing the Barentino, because the Barentino can only fire so far and fast, and
yeah,
it
I
really
guess
didn't
so.
do much. It stunned some Roviet, but I think it only killed like one squad there.
Yeah, I mean, the kill isn't really what it's looking for so much as it is just disabling an entire front line at close range. So we did have another push.
It works both ways, because whenever they Barentino, they can't push in until the fire's gone. So in some cases, it can even help us slightly.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. So the 2A1s did a very nice job here. We kind of missed some of their initial push, but I did manage to get just far enough back that I was able to rip off some BTR 90s, which, this is the thing about Soviets, always is a struggle for me when I play as them. You can't afford to lose those pieces because it adds up to so much lost utility and so many lost points on the front. Like most other nations, you wouldn't think of something like a 30-point vehicle for a 10-point infantryman, but that's what you get if you bring Motostrelki and the BTR 90. I guess probably Spetsnaz grew in that BTR 90 as well. It's just a very expensive card. So we're fighting there. Non-Crippling Depression has actually recovered and pushed in, so we have flanking Dragoner in the back, one man alone back there trying to see what he can do as more reinforcements arrive and unfortunately take out those Dragoner. But this is a lot better of a position for us than it was.
It looks like the player that was on Charlie managed to reroute some of their units to Delta, and that released the pressure and that Crippling to push up further.
Yeah, I mean, I only see, so that's Internet Religion playing over here. I only see LSTR and Balanced right now, but it could be that we did miss some over there too.
I think the Berntino was of
ooh, 27M. Yep, this is what this looks like when you smoke your tanks properly. Just flies right over, gets stunned, gets killed. That's the kill you're looking for. If I had just smoked those Leclercs, we would have been in such a better position right now. And the follow-up, jeez.
I also found it interesting that they never ran like high amounts of seed. Just allowed our AA just to shut down any of their planes. They got like K-52s, but you know they really needed a seed plane behind them.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because you know, you have Israel here, you have Scandinavia on the right-hand side, and then you had, I was playing as Eurocorps. That's all really going to be, that's going to be radar AA for the anti-plane pieces pretty much across the board, I think. So
the exception of maybe the ETS forward, but I don't think we're running that at the moment.
No, and we did have a lot of IR pieces over here, so I had 1 to 2 Krotals up basically at all times to deal with the helicopters, and you had a Draken as well, which this really shuts down helicopters and Echo, which I think is part of why we stayed alive for as long as we did. They have, oh, did I lose my cap on it? I did. Yeah, okay, so I lost my cap.
Speaking of caps, this took me way long to realize my CV isn't actually in Delta at the moment.
Ooh, is it not? Where is it? Oh, yeah, Oxygen Pakud just a little bit farther back. They're ticking right now, so 70 points to 18, and I mean, we're pretty much on the back foot here. Delta has been a slugfest. We haven't really been able to take out all of their super heavies, and we can't contest them 1v1 now that my Leclercs are dead. Echo is a bit more of a toss-up, but I ran my recon infantry right into Spetsnaz Grew, really regretted it, not having a good time there, and if they get tick on us with 20 minutes left, that's just the end of the game, plus a big push coming in here from Charlie. BTR 90s, VDV 90s, Spetsnaz Grew, all of this stuff, backed up by 2 OBR 1989s, and this lone STRV can't be feeling good right now. So this was a really scary, I think this was probably the scariest moment in the entire game for me. Yeah, I mean, losing the 2 Leclercs did hurt, but just in terms of, oh, have we lost, this is sort of the moment where I was sitting there thinking maybe now is the point where we sort of feel the repercussions of those trades earlier on. So how do we move on from here? We have Eye Shermans, we have Rovait. Is this just the game plan, endless Rovait for the next 20 minutes?
Pretty much endless Roviate, more HGMs. At this point, I'm kind of able to micro fuel my units over to the right side a bit better. I think I've got. I think in the next couple of minutes, I send him some infantry to help retake Gulf. Really got to shout out to Crippling because holding that right flank by himself and then even pushing into Charlie. I think we locate the CB because of him.
Right, and
honestly, not an MVP of the match.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like we each, this is a 3v3 game, and the whole tourney is 3v3, and you can't have sometimes games are decided by one player just sort of making that crucial mistake, right? And we've seen it a little bit over on the left. We did also lose an STRV 121 here from non-crippling depression, and I don't know, it sort of has to be evened out on their side, or we have to make up for it by equally good plays, or we're really in trouble, because Golf, this is terrifying. I didn't see this all that much during the match. I'm kind of curious what happens over here. And it looks like there's a single Fennec Toe 2 that can really fend off that OBR. BTR 90's moving up. The rest of this is pretty slow. Scanity does tend to have a lot of mechanized tools, and one little comment, I guess the M4 1A1s would come in faster in quad stacks because there is a minimum delay between units coming in out of the reinforcing line. So what you'll see people do oftentimes is they'll take cheap stuff like this, where they want a lot of them, they'll call them in 4, and then once they get up near the front line, they'll split them. This is my Kurnos, by the way. I was looking for those tanks. Evac Winchester on the UM. Oh, yes, sorry, your Kurnos, rather. Used to blue being mine. Does get a UM kill.
Does get a UM kill, and Mar290 gets the other one.
Oh, you're kidding me.
3 T80s.
Oh, that's so good.
2 280s.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, I said we had to make up for it with good plays, and that one right there just did it. I mean, wow. Look at that. And it was just in time, too. If they had had all those tanks alive and healthy in time for the Sapri, the BTRTs, the Scredgets, the MTLBVs here to push through, that would have been really hard to stop.
I lost to Kurnos, but I got like nearly 250 to 300 points of investment from that.
Plus the tempo, right? So the kills themselves, and then the additional sort of relief that it gave us in the center of the zone, which we were nearly pushing, I say we, you're nearly pushing all the way back into their spawn, and I have to believe this is a Mar290 target just waiting to happen.
Yeah, the timing on the Mar290s, it's a little bit longer than I would like, but I think sometimes it works out in the best. You aim for a target and you forget that you lined it up and it comes in just when you need it. I do believe there is a Mar290 coming in for this very shortly.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look. Oh, beautiful stuns. Beautiful, beautiful stuns. And yeah, that just does, it's just so much work. For 90 points, the Mar290 has to be just really, really good. I'd take 3 of them down vet, and sometimes I've called in all 3, and you just sort of keep going, right? It's really pretty crazy. Because, and this is something too, so we have a fair amount of progress in Echo. Ignore this Super Anton Doth throw as well. But a lot of that is because we were actually able to cluster the position of a command tank. So let's flip to neutral here for just a second. Yeah, there's a T80 UK down to 2 strength. This guy had been brought right up here into this section of woods and was a Mars cluster target for me. He's still alive, and we knew he was still alive because there was no explosion. But it does give us back this zone, and we've actually been ticking at +2 for quite a while now with Delta capped.
BU dead, another BU dead.
yep, that's going to be the para. And
they do take my CV for it, and that's the second. Oh no, just a hit, not a kill. But,
yeah, just a hit. But we were ticking +2 for nearly a while there. We have a +1 now from Echo, nearly evening up, so 71 points to 93, and that's sort of our window back into this game. We're ticking up for the first time in the entire match. There's an OBR that gets in a little over his head, double 121, will take the guy out relatively quickly. Let's see. I mean, the 121 gets criticism for not being a true super heavy, but I think against something like the 1989, it does have a really good role because it's a lot meaner than the 1989, and it's not that much more expensive. So.
Oh, absolutely. That 28 free is no joke.
Yeah, yeah, M41A1 scaring off this tour. The right side of Golf is going to be a problem for us, though, if we can't resecure this, and your contribution here is pretty great. I think, well, I was going to say I was trying to be more of a good teammate in Delta as well, but my buys don't reflect that right now, so I don't know if that was all in my head or not, but yeah, look at that, more artillery coming in. This was a long one. This was just, so I think some games you can really feel that both teams, all the players are really just giving it their all, and some games it's more of a casual sort of atmosphere of, well, you see people make mistakes on both sides. It's kind of like, I could turn that off, maybe. It's fine. We'll just, you know, the micro is a little bit lax. I got the feeling this whole game that both teams really, really wanted this fight.
Yeah, I wish we recorded it live, but there would have been a total of like 30 words said, and it was just marking targets.
It really was. It was marking targets, and then it was my comments on the Leclercs, just, oh god, no. Right, and then I think there was also some exclamation earlier on with the Kurnos. That was a high point, and we knew, I think we knew as a team that that was a high point as well, because you have some moment that crazy, and it really makes up for a lot of previous middling to average sort of problems. So Rovate moving up here, Zeldas, these guys will mulch infantry. I didn't actually realize that their guns are different ranges though. So only the primary is firing, only the Brownings, not quite close enough for the other two weapons. But OBR 1989s, the fact that we've forced them onto the 1989s from killing that many BUs is pretty crazy. Otherwise, I don't think they would have bought those into a mech deck. You want just super heavies to crush right through, right? And VDV are holding. They will start getting shot now. Rovate securing the town. This is looking pretty decent. Pretty decent indeed.
I'm trying to get my para back into position. I was originally moving it over to Golf to deal with those 1989s for crippling, so it was a little bit out of position, but I think that ended up saving it because the VDV 90 could have gone a kill on it. But
you fired more than half your ammunition with this thing. That is so incredible. I mean, 27 AP, and you fired it 13 times. You'd also see just briefly their command tank coming in right to this section. And when you see that, you can kind of count to yourself, how far is it moving before it stops? And then if we take a look, that position right there is not going to be a surprise. So that's going to be a cluster target, whether it's cluster plane or cluster arty. We kind of know more or less where it is. Did have a bit of a scary moment, though, there with the PUs coming in, which we do get that one. And then the Hapak needing to reposition, because that Buratino, I think, was that Buratino or was that something else? That might have just been ordered down.
It was Buratino, but they... I was just putting it into wherever I could put it, just to get us that +1 tick. If it dies, it dies. But
right, but we needed to hold that +1, and that +1 still secure just because Echo has been such a little contentious situation. Now I did lose a 2A1 there. We got a fair number of kills in their backline with that again. I have a 2A5. I don't have nearly enough chaff up here.
Do they still have the T80 UK there?
I believe they do. I think it was pulled back at this time again. Yeah, so it's here. It's down to 2 strength. I don't know if they healed it up by this point, or if this was a bit of a just sort of unfortunate thing for them where they didn't call in resupply. But right now it's still sitting at 2 strength, and they're not moving it in because, you know, if you do something like that and your opponent's first response, oh, they're moving it up now. Your opponent's first response is cluster. You have to think that they're going to do that again if they see it. So I just want to see, we didn't see it moving in. We see this stuff here from balanced, and then there's a cap. And I didn't see anything over on the right either, and just knowing that we didn't kill the command tank previously, it was a pretty good suspicion on where it was and what it was. It was not really a surprise.
I think the biggest difference between the two teams in this game is, I think combined we maybe bought like 5 planes.
Yeah, and not very many helicopters either. We've seen a couple of ATGM helicopters over in Golf, but really not that many. And then your Nimrod... Right, but your Nimrod got amazing return on investment. UM here, 1989, Su-25 coming in, and...
We spot the UK there?
Yeah, he was looking for my 2A5. That time he is going to be able to stay alive. Dead plane. That's what? Su-25 is 130 points or something?
Not 130 points.
And then
that Draken, by the way, just cursor over it. Look at how much ammo. It's only 4 shots so far, but I think it runs out of ammo and dies eventually. But
I think so too. So this moment, I believe this is when I pinged this, and I told you this ping is dead on accurate for the command tank, because we did see a blip there. And we need to get back to +1, so 127 points to 93.
Second plane buy of the game.
Yep, and there it is. Cluster coming down. Beautiful shots, and did we get the zone? We do. That's the decap. It actually killed a second tank as well, just, because why not? Or no, that's anti-air right there. This is going to be an OSA AKM.
OSA. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Back towards mid now. Still pushing them. Still using my Roviate. I think I actually ran out of Roviate, and I think you'll see that when I start bringing in the guys with the grenade launchers.
And toward the end, I think I also sent you more militia, just because, I mean, I have a bunch of reservists still. You're running out of Roviate. Running out of Roviate in a mech deck that's an accomplishment. You don't see that every day.
I definitely felt it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see the kills and losses at the end of this. There's about 9 minutes or so left of the game itself. We're still taking +1, and you can almost feel a little bit of a change in the way that our opponents are fighting now, because this is that crucial moment. So 10 minutes at +1 is 150 points. They need about 4 minutes of +1, but in order to do that, there needs to be a 2-point shift in the game. So right now, getting us to 0 is not good enough. They can't just come in here and cap Echo and say, okay, well that's fine. They actually need to do more. So SU-27M gets in, gets out. My Kratal was out of ammunition. The Draken didn't quite get close enough to fire, and that was kind of annoying. The one player that they were bullying a little bit with playing successfully was me over there in Echo. Usually by this point I'll have Roland 3s, but the loss of the super heavies just cost me so many points I didn't have the time to do it. And then yet again another push into golf. So I don't know. We've almost, if we take a look to the right, we drew that line earlier on for where the engagement's happening. It's still pretty much where it was.
It's still pretty much where it was, but the thing that's more important is we've killed more CVs.
Yeah, we have. We've killed more CVs, and this still has a lot of really good potential. So I don't know what happened to Crippling's 121s. It does look like they were taken out. There's only a 103D here, and that cannot fight against a BU. But what it can do is kill infantry and IFVs really cost effectively because of the course of the 15 rounds a minute on the 103D. So it's still a good tool, and then that BU is kind of on his own. So you have a spike team.
I think people sleep on the SDRV 103 because it can very well kill a super heavy in close range. That RPM is nothing to joke about, with a little bit of luck, of course. But.
Yeah. I tend to, if I take those and I know there's a super heavy, I'll tend to take them in groups of 2. And that's a little bit goofy because you're paying, so the use 175 points, 2 STRVs is 180. But it's differences in availability, and 2 of these guys at close range. Oh yeah, that's one shot. Let's take a look. Falskirmjäger misses, unfortunate. Second shots. Oh, come on, give me the third shot there. Third? BU missed. BU got the kill. Oh, that really sucks. That's 2 strength left from the BU. But if one of them got that close, you can imagine what 2 of them would do there to that BU. They will slaughter super heavies and not even blink at close range. It's pretty crazy. So BTRTs, SU-27M, there's a 2A5.
They're trying everything to try and push the zone just a little bit further.
Oh man, did he get out too? That's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious, I got so bullied this game. It was incredible, and yeah, man, every game is a learning opportunity. I record these because I like to see my good plays, I like to see my bad plays, and I like to move on from them. And I gotta say, this game, I asked you afterward if you needed a back brace from the hard carry that you're doing, and you really have just been scooping us all out of danger, right? So fighting over in golf, making sure that I have a solid right flank here in Echo, and then dealing with every mistake that I make, every mistake that Crippling makes that loses us a little bit of position here is more availability, more units for the Red 4 team to throw right down at Delta, and you've been holding like nobody's business. But we did have a brief moment of panic. So BTRT is rushing through. They do kill the mortars here, which is a really important tool for this fight that's been going on, and then just start getting right through the back line. So Peace Ryan coming in gets 1. What's the response here?
I'm trying to move my para back down, not only to deal with the BTRTs, but also to rearm it, because it's down to its 4 missiles now.
Holy cow, 20 shots at 27 AP power have been fired in this match. Most of them, my guess, is hitting as well. So one thing to keep in mind, 60% accuracy, that's not going to be the true accuracy you see on the board for 2 reasons. 1, veterancy, which will bring it up, and then 2, smoke micro and forest, which will bring it down. So we can't say for certain 60% of these hit, but certainly a fair number have smacked right into their targets and made them quite unhappy for it. So this is pretty good. Cepha B, Helicopter buy then. Just to sort of close this down, or what was the thinking?
Yeah, just tanks have very little top and rear armor, so 20mm Vulcan can in fact and will kill them.
Jeez, T80B. Gone.
Yeah. I bought a Half-S over for Crippling side as well to help him because I noticed he was getting bullied by heavy tanks and
Yeah,
I don't know if that does any work, but because I couldn't really micro, I was focusing mid.
Now, one important development here, actually two, Echo has been countercapped. We did have a ping here, so it's another command tank, we know exactly where it is, but then Echo we don't. So, or sorry, Golf we don't, and that does mean that the Red 4 team's taking +1. With 4 minutes left in this match, it's not quite enough. So they'd get about 75 points or so, a little bit less, and that would put us still at technically a little bit of a win, but it would be far from comfortable. So we're trying to get the kill here on at least one of these CVs. We do force them back in Echo as my cluster lands in one more time, gets the kill, and I think that got the kill on the command tank, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. Let's take a look real quick. No, did not. Oh, that's upsetting. Yeah, well, this is repositioned, but I don't know. And then over on this side, if we can't decap them in Echo, which I am losing this fight slowly, we have to make some progress in Golf. So this was that last scary moment, right? If they decap us in Delta, they go from a +1 to a +2, they could potentially win the game.
I just killed 2 more OBRs in there.
Oh man, yep. There it is, Spike team, right to the side, OBR 1989, 140-ish points, I believe.
There was 2 there, one died to the pair, the other one got put to 1 HP for the Dublin to finish off.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so, I mean, it's so good, but it's so bad. Jeez. Just such an amazing defense this whole game, man. Really impressive work.
Sherman's going up, got a Dublin all the way back here doing God's work, taking out the T80s.
Now they do flip to +2.
Yeah,
30 points a minute.
CV.
So 30 points a minute, 3 minutes, that's going to be 90 points. They would technically win, but it would be a tie, roughly 210 points to 202. We have to do something about that right now, if not yesterday. And my Vabs, believe it or not, make part of the difference. So we did kill a command infantry that was up there with Vabs, which these guys were just a desperation throw onto that side, and then that pops them back down to +1. Still a little scary, and I honestly don't quite remember how we dealt with this, because there's no command vehicle now into Delta. So, do you remember what happened there? Was it another attack onto Echo?
I cannot remember, to be honest with you.
This was not all that long ago
This last part
either.
was a blur, because it felt like our entire thing getting to this point was about to be overrun. My front line has completely collapsed.
Yeah. I mean, this is the price that you pay for 40 minutes of fending off that much stuff. Is just eventually it will prevail. So LSTR and Balance throwing all of their weight down into Delta right now. And, ooh, okay, T80 UK spotted in Charlie. That's going to be dropped off right next to Norland's Jägeri. And I wish it was any other of those shock teams, because the 12 AP power is a little bit light. That's what happens, okay. They move the UK. That stops the +1. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Never mind, sorry about that. The 121 behind it. I've been a little overexcited this replay, because, yeah, you ever have that thing that you didn't think you'd be able to win, and then somehow it turns out that you either get lucky or you get that last little bit of persistence and it turns out well. That was this for me, and I know you've been talking about it all week. It was a very exciting game.
Absolutely. I've been showing everyone who was stopping watch, so it was a well fought game. Both teams gave it their all, and we felt every minute of it.
We really did, and that last little bit of pressure is going to deny the Red 4 team a win. Just too little too late at the +1, and they definitely had stuff. Oh, this was kind of hilarious. MI24 VPs, 1, 2, 3. Tiger, Kritzal, one's down. My Kritzal struggling to get into range, and then they have a relatively long reload, which you don't necessarily think about. So that's 2 down.
Akira finally dying there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. That really didn't save him all that much right now. And then between your Draken and my Kritzal, we got the kill, and the Tiger Hap comes in, takes down that helicopter right now to end the game. So
I think I might get the CV on Delta just to end it out as well.
I'm not entirely sure. I just want to say, big shout out to the whole Red 4 team for this LSTR, Internet Religion, and Balance. Crazy game. Very just brutal gameplay the entire way through. We definitely felt it on our side. It was a crazy voice chat. all of us going 100% the whole time. So thank you guys. Big pleasure to play with you, and I hope that we get another opportunity to have a match. Which, man, any given Sunday, any given weekend, any given night on this game is just it's a whole new thing. You never know what to expect. So we do have kills losses 11,043 kills, 11,530 losses, and my own about 450 points negative, which was not as bad as I had feared after losing that many super heavies, but a lot of that came in the end when they were helo rushing into Critals. And then Quicksilver, 4,961 kills, 3,885 losses, just carrying the whole team right there. Any closing thoughts that you want to give this before we wrap up?
Try not to rely on air too much. That's all I can really say. I feel like if they didn't buy as many planes and put more forces on the ground, it would have been a different game. But you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Look at this kill list on the para. That's just incredible. BTRTs are not cheap. BTR90s are not cheap. There's one BU, a T80. I thought I got another super heavy, but I guess not with just that one. Nimrod got the BU. And yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful kill list. MR290 UM.
Getting a UM. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Wargame before.
11 HE right to the face, man. It'll do that to you. Alright, well, thank you guys for hanging around, and my hats off to our opposing team, and many thanks to Quicksilver for joining me for this recording. We'll see you guys again real soon.